Hello and welcome back to Some Idiot Paints. It's been a bit of a break, but I'm finally all ready to go about what I actually planned to do last time. Yeah, and we've got some additional changes ongoing. For starters, we've traded out Memphis for a newer model, 50% more compact, and yeah. 50% more compact, but takes up twice as much space. Don't you grumble, it's true. Yeah. So, today I'm getting into my Votann. It's mostly going to be a bit of contrast painting today, and a bit of figuring out. I'm doing that thing that I told you guys about before, where I'm just going to take a dry palette, use a crappy brush and paint it white. Not perfect, just white, so that I can test out a couple contrast paints and see what they look like. I actually highly recommend, I've seen a couple people doing it, getting the 3D printed toppers for your bottles, and then you can put the contrast paints on them and see how they actually flow into your recesses. 10 out of 10 would recommend. But enough about that. Today we've got Votann. So I've got my let's just move the horde. We're just gonna move the entire horde out here. Yep. Beep. There we go. That's what I've got assembled and painted so far, or primed. These guys here, I'm going to soften that light. Never mind, I'm not good. Oh, there we go. Okay. These guys here. Whoop. I intended to do a bit of a zenithal. I don't know what your opinion is, though. It's my first time doing a zenithalite. So I primed them black, and then I went to finish them with a white one. Now, I don't have an airbrush, so I just use my primer to do this. So, results vary. I feel like I went a bit heavy. That might just be my opinion. You guys might know better than I. But we're going to give it a go today, because I am going to be attempting to do these guys with contrast paints. Mostly. Okay, we got quite the selection today. And I'm not sure where I'm going to start. But I think, because I usually do, start with my leader unit. Yeah. We're going to see how this all plays out. But what I want to do, my goal, is I want purple armor. I want to do a kind of tan color for the pants. I'm going to try and do yellow for the power effects. And then black is going to be my secondary color. So I got a couple different ideas going on here for how I want to do this. Their metal is going to be a bronze. Yeah, we'll see what we get done today. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to push this whole little horde back here to the side. As usual, I'll tell you any paints I use. We're going to start with some GW. Some GW contrast paint. Now, something I will always say. have your box art for reference. Okay. And then you can decide any changes you want to make. And again, something I've always told anyone doing this, these are not my nice brushes. I'm using contrast paint. It's going to wick all the way up through. So I don't want my nice brushes. I'm also not going to go overly heavy to start, because I know this paint comes off very bright. I don't know if that's exactly how bright I want it to start. Oh, interesting. Okay, it's... The thing with contrast paint is if it isn't as dark as you want, you can go back over it lightly and make it darker. Okay, so I do want to go a bit heavier with this stuff than I thought I would. Good to know. All right, live and learn. Only thing is, if you're working with contrast paint, oh my god, that's way too heavy. If you are working with contrast paint, if you put on too thick a coat, you can wick it away. That's no issue. There we go. You can wick it away, no problem. It'll settle out nice. But anytime you're going to work with it again, give it time to dry. Give it time to dry. It takes a lot longer to dry than than regular acrylics, in my experience. Where'd that box art go? So, okay, I'm finding out I want to go pretty heavy with this. I also think I need to give this another good shake. If you're curious, this is Luxion Purple. It is quite vibrant. Okay, let's go to his other shoulder. She almost doesn't want to stick to the primer, which I've never experienced before. Okay, this is how it looks so far. As reference. Pull out. This is the color of my army right here. Hold down the light so it's a little clearer. This is my main color right here. So it's a little bit brighter, but it hasn't also been washed or anything, so it should tone down, I would think. Okay. This is the reason I want to do the Zenithal, because I knew I was going to be doing these guys mostly with contrast paints. I've only dabbled in them with my Thousand Suns. A little bit here and a little bit there. But I want it to really, well, with these guys I want to experiment a bit more with different stuff. So I really want to dive into using them. Leave that open a little bit. As I always say, as with any paint, your mileage will vary. Right? And your experience might be different than mine. I have no control over that. Okay. This is what we're getting so far. What are we gonna... There we go. That is what we're getting so far with this. I'm liking it. Getting that nice recess shading. It's pretty good. Hit a couple of these armor patches down here. And then there is, yep, one right here. underneath his leg there. And let's purple his crotch. Okay, crotch purpled. I think for these guys, it's just their armor plates that really need to be heavily purpled. I just want to take a look at some of their gloves and their art. Yeah, their gloves are different. And they're not like Space Marines that just have metal hands. Yeah. All Space Marines with their simple metal hands. Makes them super easy to paint though. Alright, that's a bit heavy. If you do end up doing that, you just go really heavy on a spot, just dab some of the paint away on your palette, and then come back with your brush, and because it's so liquidy, it will go back up into your brush. Because it's so liquidy, it will go back up into your brush. Okay. I think that's most of his purple. I'm going to add a thicker coat down here. So I really want that to be darker. And same thing with his cod piece. Okay. All right. Now, let's hit. I missed his backpack. Awful. Now, one thing you can do, make your life a little easier, you can pull your paint an area away from areas you want to be lighter, and pull it down into areas that you want to be darker. So that gets a heavier coat. Right? I think we're going to also put a little bit underneath here. Okay. All right. Now, try out a couple different things here with this guy today. So the first thing we're going to try out... Oh, I want that one first. Skeleton Horde. See what this looks like. Because I'm hoping this will be able to be the tan for these guys. But I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I don't know how well it covers. If it doesn't cover very well, then it obviously won't be the tan. But it might cover pretty good, and I might just need to give it 2 coats. We'll see. I've had that happen with a couple contrast paints before, where even though really it is only supposed to be a one and done, you do have to give them the second coat to get the color you want. If they don't, well, yeah. So that's what it looks like right now. Wet. If it's going to work, it's definitely going to need a second coat. Definitely. I'm going to come back to that one after it dries. That reminds me, where's my tunnel? Wipe off my test spot. Okay. Now, this is why I don't like to do the Votann with the head. Where it is. Ooh, with the head option. Because now I've got to get in there and do some brown. Where's my brown? Put it away. There it is, put away. I don't know. Let's see my other guy here real quick. If I mix this down. Or I could do... I could try this. This is something I'm going to try. We're all about experimenting today. So let's try this. This is Basilicum Gray. Instead of doing a brown for the leather inside here, I'm going to do like the black. Like it's some sort of fabric. Because I also intend to use this to see if I can use it to do the black bits for these guys as well. Because I used it a while ago. Yeah, when you put it on quite dark, for the black nails on my oh my god, Exalted Sorcerers. But it ended up being the black nails on my Exalted Sorcerers, and I quite liked it in that roll. So I just wanted to see if I could also use it here to do black. Everything we do, we're learning as we go. Like I said, I'm learning with you guys a lot of this stuff. Most of it I've never done before. What the hell? Something a little funky going on right there. We're going to find out. I think I hit a lot of pigment. I'm just gonna... Yeah, that's definitely what happened. Give that another shake. Alright. I am actually. Quite liking that. Just because it's not black. It's going to take me a couple coats, which is fine. It's not black, which is also okay because all black's really nice, and I like black. You do lose a lot of that detail, and I did zenith these guys, so not losing that. It's kind of a big bonus. Not losing all the details that I put in on the zenith. It's kind of a big plus. That I will not complain about. Okay. So that tan's drying pretty nice, actually. That's Administrat Gray. Basilican Gray is actually making a pretty nice black shade for me. Like I said, I've had to go over it a couple times, the areas that I want to do with it, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad to preserve that little bit of detail. Right? That's kind of what's going on here, right? I could just forget it, but I do want to preserve that. Can. I know it's already going to be a bit heavy before I even start. Whoop. Okay. Just gonna finish up with this, and then I'm gonna go back to that skeleton horde. I already know what I'm gonna do for the boots. They're different than what I do for all my other boots, but I'm actually gonna do the soles as metal. I like that look on the Votann. It almost makes it look like they're kind of just inserting their foot into something. Okay, now on my other guys, I think I'm going to do that black last. Now that I know for sure how that's going to play out. Just because it's kind of hard to catch some of my other details. And to see it without the contrast, without it contrasted. Without it contrasted, no pun intended. Oh yeah, here we go. That's much more the color I was looking for. All right. Let's go. Let's do this guy's whole fabric system like this. Bit thick there, so I'm just gonna wick it away because I have that ability. That is, like I said, the beauty with contrast paint. Oh, I've got too much in one spot. Dry my brush. Just suck it up. Like I said, I think I'm going to have to do another pass with this, but so far it is pretty close to what I'm shooting for. Okay, what else needs fabric? I need to get in there. There. And right there. Bit heavy. So we're just going to pull that around to fill that in. Now I've got some couple gaps and a couple oopsie daisies I gotta fix. Alright, so like if you'll notice, if we're gonna focus. Focus. Doesn't want to focus. No, it does not want to focus. Okay, we're going to move this a little bit then. We'll be right back after these brief messages. There we go. You'll notice right here I missed some purple spots. You will do that. That is fine. I did that. It's a whoopsie daisy. We'll fix it in post. Right. There is also a side of this too, especially with these kind of models. Man, I love painting, but I don't want to spend all of my day painting a basic troop. So, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a way to make this as least painful as possible. So that my actual more canvassy models that I can do more of the stuff I like can get a bit more time in the sun. That being said, don't get me wrong, I do like doing this. This is still fun for me. I just have another... After these guys, I have another 20 Hearthkynn to paint. So trying to find a way that does this in a efficient manner and also produces a good result. Kind of a big deal. Now there's some stuff I am going to lose just by default. I don't have a contrast paint that does it. I don't know if I want to do it by contrast, so like the belt, the weapons, stuff like that. But that's all I can do with that, right? I'm not the kind of person that's going to go out and buy contrast paints just for that, especially if I don't know if I'm going to like the end look. Right? I bought Skeleton Horde because I have a couple other things I'm doing. I know I'm going to be getting into a Night Haunt army. And I wanted, I like the look of Skeleton Horde for a couple things I'm going to be doing in that. So I knew I was going to get some use out of it. So I don't mind buying it. If this didn't work, then it would have been Xandri Dust that would be going on here. Because I have Xandri Dust from another project. Right? Don't go break the bank on paints, especially when you yourself are not sure on things. Right? If you don't know exactly what you want, don't go buy 100 different paints to try and find out, right? That is not the answer. Okay. So this is where we're at so far with this guy. I'm not getting everything done today. That's okay. There's more black that needs to go on him. But there's a couple things I want to get done as well. While I've still got you here on Contrast Corner. So the next thing I want to do is his face. For his face, we are doing Bobby G Flesh. This is actually my first time doing a full face. So, yeah. We're going to hit him up with some Bobby G. And a little bit of Bobby G goes a long way. But it works best the whiter you get your head. Okay? Now, because I'm an absolute psychopath, I'm And you got some Apothecary White to do his beard. And if I don't like how that looks, he's going to end up with a red beard. I kind of don't like how it looks. So, well, that was fun. Alright, back again. And my friend asks why I hate Citadel. He's like, I love them. They're so nice. I say, no, they're not. You're wrong. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. You're allowed to hold that opinion. But it's incorrect. GW pots are not nice. Alright. A little bit of desk cleaning gonna need to go on. Let's oh, maybe I'll tell someone I got injured. Hey, Madison. No, Madison, I did not actually get injured, my girl. Okay. Actually, I could take very much of this at all. Maybe that might have been more than I intended. This is my favorite thing with the contrast paints. It's just the ability to do a decent looking bit of hair. I was going for a white originally, but I didn't like how it showed up. So we switched to Blood Angels, which was the crux of our... Oh no, I just spilled Blood Angels all over my workstation and my hands and my clothes issue. But yeah, I like how that tan turned out. It's pretty similar to the Xandri dust I was going for. And that is almost all my contrasting done. I have one last thing I want to try today. I didn't know if it was going to work out or not. It was, in fact, not spilling Blood Angels Red all over my fucking desk. You know what, we're gonna make sure we close up the rest of these two before they also go everywhere. I want to do a power effect for the power weapons. Again, you never done it before. We're doing it live. So what I want to do is start with a very, very thin coat. Usually people do power effects in blue or green. However, my army is purple. And I didn't think those would look nice with my purple army. But I thought what would look nice is a bit of yeller. And I think I'm going to have to wait for this to dry more before I can add. My plan is to build up a few layers of yellow, each one a little bit further back from the tip, and then to do a white highlight at the tip. I'll be back one day. All right, we're back. We're just finishing up our little bit of work on this guy. All right. And the more I thought about it, the more I think I'm actually going to change this guy's color scheme. And we're going to do a gray and black pant. I don't know what color I'm going to make these, but it won't be that color. Okay. Take away a lot of this yellow. Take my brush and just work what's here a little bit around. I'm going to try and exploit some of the problems with contrast paint here. And it's not going to want to spread super much now. That's just had a little bit to tack up. Hopefully make a bit of a cleaner. Cleaner edge. So I need to wait for that to tack up a bit. Again, I'm not going to do the other side like this. I'm just going to add a couple layers of Avalon to the other side. I'm just going to edge this a little bit. Be very careful. Only want to get the edge. I don't actually care if it's super even, because I think that's fine. Okay. This is where we're at. So I'm going for a yellow power effect. And I'm just going to take a little bit more Averland. Very thin. That might be a bit too thin. Have this kind of transition from a darker to a lighter. And what I'm actually going to do later on a bit, there we go, is I'm going to use a finer brush. Bit of Corax. And if we know this channel, we know that Corax means white scare. I'm just going to add a couple. White lines down through. Just lightens it up a little bit. There we go. That is my yellow power axe. Yeah, no, like I said, no, I think I'm going to change this. I am going to move away from this. I'm seeing it. I'm not liking it. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to bust back out my Basilican Gray. Oh, wait. No, not that brush. This brush. And I'm going to, in fact, do the pants with the Basilican Gray. Unfortunately, I have this color underneath them, so I might actually have to do a touch-up here. On this one particular model. But for the rest of them, I am going to do them gray. This was the color I was aiming for, but seeing it in person does not create the look I was going for. You know what I mean? Black is meant to be my terse secondary color, so I think it's fine. And I think what it'll end up being on all these guys is a couple coats in black pants, and then I still haven't decided then what color their pads will go. It might just be lighter. It might just be a lighter gray shade. Those armor panels and stuff will go. Yeah, definitely we're going to go with black for the pants. I already like that a lot more, even though it's not a perfect cover-up. Even though it's not a perfect cover-up, I already like it just that much more. So, yep. And that happens, guys. Sometimes you start doing something, you have a vision in your head for how it looks. You think it's going to look a certain way. Everything can be right. Like I said, this was the color I was aiming for. It ended up looking pretty similar to Xandri Dust, but that's not how it played out. Oh yeah, look at that. I think that's just a lot better. So yeah, these armor plates might end up being a lighter white, I don't know. Or a lighter gray, sorry. But we'll figure it out. Anyway, that's all I'm going to do for this guy today. Take a step back, re-examine some stuff. Some stuff worked out like I thought it would, some didn't. Next time, well, what you'll see me do is what I do with a lot of these guys. I will now apply what I've done today to the rest of the Hearthkynn. And then I'll move on to doing detail work, which is probably where we'll pick up next. All right. Hope you had a great view. It was a pleasure to be here. I'll talk to you next week. Don't do drugs.